Hi, I'm Caroline. Welcome to Sweet Pea Sewing. In my prior video, I showed you a number of mood boards of styles that I would like to sew up for this summer. And in today's video, I'm going to show you a number of patterns and fabrics that I have picked to make. I loved all the comments in my prior video when I asked the question, what would your ideal everyday outfit be? And there were lots of great answers. Really nothing very dressy was mentioned. Most people would love shift dress, and this is geared mainly towards the summer. Shorts, easy, comfortable pants, tops, that kind of thing. And that's right up my alley as what I'm trying to style after as well. So it was great to hear those comments. At the end of this video, I'm going to ask another question, so please make sure you tune in for that. Today I'm wearing the Monique Simple Tee from fabricstore.com. It's a free pattern and I made it in February for So Frugal. Was that February or March? Anyway, I made a couple of blouses and this is one of them, and I had planned on making it up again, and I may. We'll see. But you know, there's so many other patterns calling all the time, isn't there? But I really like this pattern. The material or fabric is a thrifted linen blend, I'd say. It really doesn't wrinkle at all and washes up beautifully. So it may be a rayon linen blend. It's fabulous, it's very comfortable. In my previous video where I did a closet clearing out, I grouped my clothing into 5 categories. And these categories are as follows, and I've changed the naming of them a little bit just to suit my lifestyle and make more sense. First grouping is sleep loungewear. Second grouping I call grubbies, for cleaning, out in the garden, that kind of thing. Stuff that you don't worry about getting damaged or things spilt on it. Number 3 is everyday at home wear. Number 4 is social wear. You're out and about, want to look a bit smart, dressed up a little bit, but dressed down too. Depends, it's a wide range. Number 5 is occasion wear, dressy. What I want to focus on today are groups 3 and 4, everyday at home wear and social wear, out and about. Before I forget, let me tell you what's on my dress form. This is New Look 6619. And unfortunately, this pattern isn't available anymore on the simplicity.com website. Doesn't even seem to be available as a PDF either. And I think it's a great little pattern, but I don't really like it on me, and I haven't taken a picture of it. I will in a future video and include it with some other dresses that I plan to make. I think it's mainly the fabric. This fabric is a very light rayon, I think, and I really feel like this pattern lends itself better, as far as I'm concerned, to a cotton blend of some kind. Not a quilting cotton, although sometimes I think you could get away with a quilting cotton, but you do want a bit of flowiness. It was a fairly easy pattern to put together. I didn't have too many problems with it. I do struggle somewhat with the big 5, big 4 patterns because the instructions are quite limited, but this really is not a difficult pattern. And I'll definitely make it again. For the summer, it's a great dress. So let's look at the patterns. One of the viewers in a previous video mentioned that their head spun because I had patterns and patterns, and I'm talking patterns on the fabric, not these kind of patterns. She said, where are your solids? You need solids. And that really hit home with me. Thank you, Robin, for bringing that up. Because I really haven't got very many solids in my wardrobe at all. And I can't figure out why. I think it's much like how I started buying fabrics when I first started sewing. It's just whatever looked pretty to me. I didn't really consider, you know, whether it went with anything else in my wardrobe. I didn't consider my color palette and how it fit into that. If it was pretty, I bought it. My husband just dropped off 7 bags of clothing to our donation center, and I really hope somebody can make use out of all those clothes. I said goodbye to them, and I'm on to making my own handmade wardrobe. Let's start with Butterick 6742. This pattern was on my mood board, one of my mood boards for dresses, I think it was, even though it's a skirt. Years ago, and believe it or not, it wasn't in the 7 garbage bags of clothes. I don't know what I did with it. I guess I got rid of it. I had a skirt very much like this, and I just loved it. It was so useful for just wearing at home. It was made of a very light cotton, and I could match it up with so many things. Right here, the model's wearing it with just a plain white jersey, and you can see how that would work. And one of the things I want to say is all of the patterns that will show you here, I'm pretty set on. I really will make them. I hope so. Famous last words. Because I do change my mind a lot. But the fabrics I'm not so sure about. I'll show you what I'm going to start with. You can let me know what you think, but I may change them up as I get to that pattern. Earlier this week, one of my local fabric stores, Fabricland, announced they were closing. And I was really sad to hear this, especially on the heels of Joann closing in the States and Simplicity.com being sold to a liquidator. I sure hope that there's not something major happening in the sewing retail stores. It's kind of worrying, but they're starting a closing sale today, so I'm going to check that out, and I may find something that fits better with some of these patterns. So what fabric have I picked for Butterick 6742? So this is a thrifted duvet, and if you've seen any of my prior videos, you'll know that I love thrifting. And I was really happy to find this one because it's 100% cotton. It's got a slubby kind of a look to it, just really useful. But I wouldn't want to make a blouse out of it or anything like that. It really doesn't have a lot of drape. But I feel like for this skirt, it would be perfect. The materials are lightweight broadcloth, which I would consider this close to. Stretch wovens, lightweight linen, and lightweight poplin. So I think that will make a beautiful skirt. Let's move on to the next pattern. I recently became a full member, full access, I'm not sure what it's called, to Seamworks. And it just sounds like a really good plan for me as a newish sewist. I've been sewing for about 6 months now. They had 50% off on their membership, so I think it ended up being about $127 Canadian. And that gives you full access to, I believe it's all of their patterns, as well as many sew-alongs and lots of other perks. So I thought I'm going to do this because one of the things that I find with the big 5 patterns is I really struggle with them because the pattern information is very limited. There's not very many sew-alongs at all for them. And there just isn't the community around them. So this actually, out of the patterns that I have here, is the only one of the big 4 or 5. So I wanted to make sure that I dipped my toe in, and I picked a couple of seamwork patterns. I may only do one of them. I'd like your opinion on it, what you think. Here's the mood board of the coordinated outfits that I wanted to come up with, and I love the monochromatic look. You know, same color in both the top and the bottom. And actually, what I'm wearing would work so well as the top. But I'll get to the top. Let's talk about the pants first. So two of the seam work patterns came up as good options, I thought, for that monochromatic look. First, we have the Joss pants. And these look very loose and flowy. I'm only just under 5'4", so sometimes a really wide leg, which is really popular, can look a little bit too much on me. But I do love the look of it and the big pockets. And the second pair of seam work pants is the Max pants. I am trying to get away from the capri look. I have a lot of capris, and they do cut off at the wrong part, the widest part of your leg. Because I'm not that tall, these very well may go to my ankle anyway. I think it's based on a 5'6" height, and I'm 5'4", so it'll probably be another couple, and it would be very easy to add a couple of inches. But again, I think this would look great in that monochromatic coordinated top and bottoms. Now, before I show you the fabric that I'd like to use with it, I'm going to show you the top. So this is Style Arc. Now, Style Arc is not one of the independent patterns that is extremely easy to follow, like so many others. Seam work, cashmerette, Love Notions, and many, many others really have great instructions and sew-alongs. But I figured I made it through the Azalea dresses. I can make it through this. Now, it's the Bonnie woven top, and the one I want to make is a sleeveless here with the buttons down the back. Really cute top. Now, my pattern matching abilities is terrible. I'm talking fabric again. But how nice would this look in that Bonnie top? And I figure there would be very minimal matching with this cotton gauze in the either Joss or the Max. It would just be so smart, wouldn't it? I just love this look. Now, when I look at my palette colors, this dark blue doesn't really come into play, but it does come into play in the light summer, right here. Maybe that's a little bit darker, but you know, I'm not sticking to this 100%. I think it would look very smart, and I think this would fall into the social wear going out more than the at home, but I really like it. Both of these fabrics are thrifted as well, so I think they'd look fabulous. A few more options for that coordinated look with the pants and the top would be these beautiful rayon linen blends. I've got 3 of them here. This beautiful teal right here in my spring palette. This beautiful blue right here on my spring palette. And this pale blue again. Pretty close. Aren't they gorgeous? And again, in that monochromatic look. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to do that striped and the blue for sure. But I probably am going to pick one of these. Which one do you like? Light blue, the darker blue, or the teal? Which do you think would look good in that monochromatic top and bottom? Let me know. One thing that I really want to make is a jumpsuit. It's been many years since I've worn a jumpsuit, probably 30. I really enjoyed one. I remember I bought it down in the States on a shopping trip with my friends, and I wore it a lot. It was great. But I want to make sure that I will wear it, and I know there's the whole bathroom thing, and I think I will. And I've looked at many, many patterns, and the one that I think works for me the most is Helen's Closet Lazo. Beautifully constructed, great reviews. Yeah, I think it's a winner. Now, this is probably the one that I've struggled with the material, the fabric, the most. And in the picture, the models seem to be wearing a really high-end cotton. And so there's a bit of flow to it, maybe a cotton blend of some kind. The actual fabrics themselves that are recommended, light to medium weight woven fabrics with no stretch. Rayon viscose, challis, or poplin linen cotton and tensile will work. This chambray, which is also thrifted denim chambray, I think would work, and I may do a toile of it out of this. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to have any trouble with this jumpsuit, though. I don't think I'm going to have any issues following the instructions. I'm pretty sure there's a sew along. It's really a highly rated pattern. So I'm so on this. I think I would make this to wear at home. I think it would be really comfortable, really, really comfortable. But I do want to look at Fabricland today for another fabric that might work. I might make two. We'll see. The final pattern that I want to make in this little grouping of summer patterns, I'm sure I'll have another one, is Helen's Closet Moss Jacket. And I searched high and low for a jacket, a lightweight jacket that I knew I would wear and has some different styles with it. And this ticks all the boxes. It really, really does. Beautiful, beautiful tailoring and pattern development on this. I feel like with that one, I do want to make a mock-up or a toile, and I think I'm going to do it out of the same fabric that I'm going to make the Butterick skirt. I think it'll look very nice in here. I think it's stiff enough because it needs a certain amount of structure to it for the jacket. Fabric recommendations: light to medium weight woven fabrics with no stretch. Linen, cotton, denim, wool, hemp, rayon, viscose, challis, twill, crepe, poplin. So this definitely falls into the close to the medium weight cotton. And the other thing is I love this oatmeal color, and I think it'll just go with everything. And it's a solid. Actually, other than the stripes, I think everything has been solid. So that's a plus for me. Yeah. So we'll try that. So that's all the patterns that I have planned for the next few weeks, and I'm excited about it. But like I say, you may see different fabrics come up, but the patterns I'm going to stick with. You may have noticed there are no dresses in this grouping of patterns, even though dresses are my favorite garment. And well, there's a skirt, but that doesn't quite qualify. The reason I haven't included any dresses is because I'm going to do a whole separate video on the dresses that I want to make and that I have made. So look for that, because I love dresses. And even though it's been hasn't been as hot here as we thought it would be, for mid-June, it's probably hovering between 16 and 19 degrees Celsius each day. So not overly warm, so I'm not like sweating so much that I'm like, I just want to put a dress on, but it's coming. Question of the day. Now, when I first started sewing 6 months ago, I bought a ton of simplicity.com patterns. I really didn't realize that there were the independent patterns out there like there is. One of the things though that I sort of got caught up in with the independent patterns is the printing out of them and putting them all together yourself, or a lot of them actually offer paper patterns now. You can actually buy the patterns. Of course, they're more expensive than the PDF, and that's very handy too. Or you can get the PDF and have it sent to a copy store. And prices are kind of all over the place as far as what may work best for you. And I've done all three of them. As far as printing out or getting the PDF and sending it off to a copy store, excellent. That is excellent. I started off, because I didn't know better, by sending all sizes, everything. So of course, when I realized that I could actually choose the sizes, or say just, choose 12, 14, and 16 for me, or whatever it may be, that decreased the cost quite a bit. So just a tip, make sure when you're printing it out that you only ask them to print out your size or a range of sizes. It just is a cheaper way to go. Now, so let's talk about that first of all. You send it to a coffee shop, send it to a copy shop. Do you then trace the pattern, or so that you only have one size and you can use, if you get a range of sizes, if you only get one size, I completely understand cutting out that. But let's say you got 3 sizes because you go up a bit in weight or down, or it's for somebody else, or whatever the case may be. Do you trace it so that you have those 3 sizes, or because it would make sense to do that, wouldn't it? Let me know. Or do you just always order the one size from the copy shop? Secondly, do you print the PDF out and put them all together? I actually just printed out Love Notion's Laundry Day tea dress. It has 104 papers. Yeah, it's a lot. Now, of course, you can only print out the sections that you need. And this sort of dawned on me like a goof. I realized I don't need to print out all of those other ones. So I've put them aside. I did print out all 104. I put the other ones aside that are for the tunic or shirt. And I'll paste those together when I get to it. But I want to do the dress. Now, you've got the cost of the paper. You've got the cost of the toner. You've got the cost of the tape, and also it can take a fair amount of time, but I'm curious if that, but the nice thing about it is you can print the one size, tape it together, cut it, and you're done. Now, I just want to say something about printers. I bought a new printer. It is a Brother off of Amazon last year, and I could not get it to print to scale. I could not get it to print to scale, and it drove me nuts. I always had to do it at 104%. And even then it was whacked, and it was such a risk depending on the amount of time. I decided to ask ChatGPT, the app ChatGPT. And it told me, this makes total sense, to uninstall the driver and reinstall the complete driver again. That worked. It worked. It now prints at actual size. It works perfectly after me pulling my hair out, printing hundreds probably. So just a tip for other people out there, newbies or whatever, that may not, if you have a problem and can't do it at actual size, try uninstalling your driver and reinstalling it. I think any, printer driver in the last 5 years is probably online. Make sure you check that first, though, before you do install it. And then the other option is just ordering the paper pattern from these independent companies if they had it. And Simply.com now has PDF on a lot of theirs as well. I really want to know what the majority of people do, and whether you've gone through this cycle like I have and come to what's easiest for you. Easiest and cheapest, or just easiest? What do you like doing? I probably find that a mix is something that I'll probably always do. If there's a sale, maybe I'll just order the pattern from the independent company. If there isn't a sale, but I really want that pattern and it's a shirt or something like that that's not a gazillion pages, print off the PDF, put it together myself and cut it out. if there's a lot of papers and it's a dress with a lot of tiers or something like that, it's got a lot of pattern pieces, I probably will buy the PDF and send it off to a copy shop. I really want to say coffee shop. That's because I need a coffee. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'd love it if you would let me know whether you have made any of these patterns and what your thoughts are, or whether you'd like to make any of these patterns. Have you made New Look 6619? And what are your thoughts on it? And what fabric did you make it from? I'm always so interested in fabric. I really need to make sure that I write down what the fabric is, because I buy the fabric and it doesn't come with details, and I need those labels or the little tags that you can, safety pin on, so I know, because I find I'm still not learning about fabric as much. Please like and subscribe. Thank you. Happy sewing. Bye-bye.